Hello everybody, it's Lazel here with another EDH deck tech. Today I'm featuring Goddric, Cloaked Reveler. He is a 3 mana 3/3 human noble with haste and celebration. This says, as long as 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn, Goddric, Cloaked Reveler is a dragon with base power and toughness 4/4, flying, and for 1 red, dragons you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. On the first look you think he turns into a Shivan dragon, but read this ability closely. For 1 red, dragons you control get +1/+0. This means every dragon you control gets +1/+0. Furthermore, this is a static ability, so as long as 2 or more non-land permanents entered, he turns into a dragon. It doesn't matter at which point, it doesn't trigger, it simply happens. We are going to win the game by flooding the board with dragons, turning Goddric into a dragon himself, and using his ability to pump our creatures above and beyond and swing for the win. For example, with cards like Sneak Attack, a 4 mana enchantment, and for 1 red you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. That creature gains haste. Sacrifice the creature at the beginning of the next end step. Sneak Attack is really powerful because it only costs you 1 mana to pump out a really expensive and powerful dragon, and in addition to that you simply keep a lot of mana available for Goddric's ability. Loveless Dragon Queen, a 6 mana 6/6 flying, and whenever another non-token dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a 5/5 red dragon creature token with flying, and for 2 mana dragons you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Loveless is really powerful combined with Sneak Attack, because as soon as she is on the battlefield you can just pump out a lot of more creatures and keep all of those tokens. Nesting Dragon, a 5 mana 5/4 flying with landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 0/2 red dragon egg creature token with defender, and when this creature dies, create a 2/2 red dragon creature token with flying, and for 1 red, this creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Dracozev, Maw of Flames, a 7 mana 7/7 flying. Whenever Dracozev, Maw of Flames attacks, it deals 4 damage to any target and 3 damage to each up to 2 other targets. Ancient Copper Dragon, a 6 mana 6/5 flying, and whenever Ancient Copper Dragon deals combat damage to a player, roll a d20. You create a number of treasure tokens equal to the result. Due to the fact that treasure tokens count as non-land permanents, this deck has a huge synergy with treasure tokens. And Udvara Hellkite, an 8 mana 6/6 flying. Whenever a dragon you control attacks, create a 6/6 red dragon creature token with flying. All of these token generators are really powerful in this deck simply because as soon as the token enters it counts for Goddric's ability. Let's abuse this treasure synergy a little bit more. With Zorn, a 3 mana 3/2, if you would create 1 or more treasure tokens, instead create those tokens plus an additional treasure token. Inspiring Tinkering, a 5 mana sorcery, exile the top 3 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn you may play those cards, and you create 3 treasure tokens. Descent into Avernus is a ticking time bomb, a 3 mana enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, put 2 descent counters on Descent into Avernus. Then each player creates X treasure tokens, and Descent into Avernus deals X damage to each player, where X is the number of descent counters on Descent into Avernus. Big Score, a 4 mana instant. As an additional cost to cast a spell, discard a card. Draw 2 cards and create 2 treasure tokens. Pirate's Pillage, a 4 mana sorcery. As an additional cost to cast a spell, discard a card. Draw 2 cards and create 2 treasure tokens. Strike It Rich, a 1 mana sorcery, create a treasure token with flashback for free. Aside from powerful dragons we also play powerful enchantments, for example like Sticky Fingers, a 1 mana enchantment which on the first look doesn't do a lot but is really helpful in this deck. Enchanted Creature has Menace, and when this creature deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. When Enchanted Creature dies, draw a card. Rain of Riches, a 5 mana enchantment. When Rain of Riches enters the battlefield, create 2 treasure tokens. The first spell you cast each turn that mana from a treasure was spent to cast has Cascade. Flame Shadow Conjuring, a 4 mana enchantment. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1 red. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that creature. That token gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step. Dragon Tempest, 2 mana enchantment. Whenever a creature with flying enters the battlefield under your control, it gains haste until end of turn. Whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, it deals X damage to target creature or player, where X is the number of dragons you control. Guild Artisan, a 2 mana enchantment background. Commander creatures you own have, whenever this creature attacks a player, if no opponent has more life than that player, you create 2 treasure tokens. And of course Crucible of Fire, a 4 mana enchantment. Dragon creatures you control get +3/+3. You want to win more? You get it. Academy Manufacturer, a 3 mana 1/3. If you would create a clue, food or treasure token, instead create 1 of each. Terror of the Peaks, a 5 mana 5/4 flying. Spells your opponents cast at target Terror of the Peaks cost an additional 3 life to cast. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. Tempting Contract, a 4 mana artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent may create a treasure token. For each opponent who does, you create a treasure token. Goldspan Dragon, a 5 mana 4/4 flying haste. Whenever Goldspan Dragon attacks or becomes the target of a spell, create a treasure token. Treasures you control have tap, sacrifice this artifact, add 2 mana of any one color. Invasion of Tarkir is also a great card in this deck. A 2 mana with 5 defense counters Battle. When Invasion of Tarkir enters the battlefield, reveal any number of dragon cards from your hand. When you do, Invasion of Tarkir deals X plus 2 damage to any other target, where X is the number of cards revealed this way. You can flip it into Defiant Thundermaw, a 4/4 flying trample, and whenever a dragon you control attacks, it deals 2 damage to any target. And another really powerful 1-drop, Dragon Master Outcast, a 1 mana 1/1. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 6 or more lands, create a 5/5 red dragon creature token with flying. Alright guys, these were a few cards that I would play in Goddric Cloaked Reveler. Let me know down in the comments below which cards you would add to the deck, which legendary creature I shall feature next, and then I would say see you in the next video. Goodbye guys.